Just a few comments about my mother and her growing up and living in Holland as a child. What started it all, her mother delivered her and died at the hospital before she was left to go home. And so she was without a mother, and the rest of her life she spent mostly, not the rest of her life, but the rest of her time until she moved to America was spent with her Uncle Bertus, who lived and worked off of his boat. It was a boat that ran through the rivers for whatever businesses he was in, which I don't know what that was about. But anyway, her mother died when she delivered my mother. And
what happened to her dad?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know.
He took a back seat.
He owned a big bakery in Amsterdam, and it was apparently quite successful because a couple of years after his wife died, which my mother's mother got remarried, and the woman he remarried, my mother's second mother or stepmother, wanted to go to America.
Okay. And
she convinced him to sell the bakery, which was doing very well, and move to America. She was a high spender, according to my mother. She knew coats and fur coats and all that, and so my mother had a very intense dislike for her stepmother, and so after they decided to go to America, my mother decided that she was not going to go, but didn't say anything. And come the day to sail, to leave, to go to America, they were at the docks where they were to board the boat, but it was a couple hours before they left. So her stepmother gave her some money and told her to go to the store and buy, I don't know what the item was, but it was an item, a prescription or whatever it was. So she decided on the way to the drugstore that she was not going to go to America, and she ran away. And so there was not enough time to, conduct a search because they were getting ready to board the ship.
So they left
And so
her?
the ship sailed away.
They left your mother?
Without my mother there. And
I told you.
well, let me say, she spent most of her time prior to that with her Uncle Bertus, they called him.
And she had already switched homes before
He had
that.
a little ship or boat that he conducted. I don't know what his business was.
So she felt that was her home.
Back and forth in the ferries.
Right.
And so she spent that time with him for several years.
Okay.
And her son, her brother, wanted, we run out of
Yeah,
space?
no, that's just a new twist on the story I never heard. I always thought that the parents just left and then she hunted down Uncle Bertus and moved in with him.
Well,
I mean, she was living with Uncle Bertus.
She was very close to her Uncle Bertus, whose life involved working on the river.
Well, who was Aunt Johanna?
That was her half-sister.
With the stepmother?
Yeah.
Her dad and stepmother had Aunt Johanna.
Well, I'm not sure about that.
Is Aunt Johanna her half-sister?
Yeah.
Okay, well, okay.
That would have to be the way. So they didn't share the same mother, because Aunt Johanna was younger than Grandma.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
So did Grandma have any siblings older than her? Or was she the first one that her mother died in childbirth, having her, and she was the first child?
No,
Oh, she had a brother John.
my Uncle John, Vanderlucht, his name was.
Right.
My mother's maiden name is Vanderlocht.
So he was her whole brother.
Yes, and he was older than she was.
What happened to him when
He went to Holland. They took him, to America.
Oh, he went to America?
He went
That's
to
John
America.
Vanderlock's grandpa.
Right. But
Right.
he made the boat, but Grandma didn't.
Yeah, apparently he didn't share that information with her brother. She was very close to him. And he was older than her, a couple years, I guess.
Okay.
And so the boat sailed with my uncle and his father and his stepmother.
Well, how was it that Grandma got to America? At what point did she come over?
Oh, she came by years after that.
Years.
My Uncle John, who moved to America with his mother and
Her
with
brother.
his father and stepmother, and so he he was just so very close to my mother.
Okay.
That was her brother.
Right.
So he kept writing her, telling her to come to America, what a wonderful country it was, and she said she wasn't going to come to America until her stepmother died, because she had an intense dislike for her stepmother,
Ooh.
for whatever reasons.
Right.
And so I don't know how many years it was, but I would say it was maybe 3-4 years after that incident. Well, no, it's more than that, because she was like about 16 or 17 when she came to America. So then that must have been almost 10 years. Then her
Did the stepmother die?
Died.
Oh, the stepmother died?
Yeah, her stepmother died about 10 years after. So, my uncle, I don't know if he sent her money or what, but whatever, she came to America and was reunited with her brother and
Her father.
Her father.